स्तोत्र सत अभय चरणारविंद भक्ति वेदांता स्वामी प्रभुपाद की जय विष्णुपाद परमहंस प्रवचकाचार्य स्तोत्र सत श्री श्रीमद् भक्ति सिद्धांत सरस्वती ठाकुर गोस्वामी महाराज प्रभुपाद की जय। इस्कॉन फाउंडराचार्य बीबीटी फाउंडराचार्य श्रील प्रभुपाद की जय। ग्रंथराज श्रीमद् भागवतम की जय। निताय गौर प्रेमानंदी हरि हरि बोल। Thank you. ओम नमो भगवते वासुदेवाय। ओम नमो भगवते वासुदेवाय। ओम नमो भगवते वासुदेवाय। Hare Krishna. Reading from Srimad Bhagavatam, Canto 3, Chapter 6, Creation of the Universal Form. It's a chapter which is of interest to many people, the Vishwarup, and it's spoken about at few places in the Bhagavatam. This is one of them. So text 1 does not have a good size purport, so we'll be chanting text 2 together. I will read text 1 by myself. This is text 1. Rishir Uvacha. Text 2 we will do together. Thank you. Ititasham swashaktinam satinam asmeta saha prasupta loka tantranam nisamya gatimishvara. Translation and purport by Srila Prabhupada. Srila Prabhupada ki jai. Translation. The Rishi Maitreya said, the Lord thus heard about the suspension of the progressive creative functions of the universe due to the known combination of his potencies, such as the Mahat Tattva. Purport. There is nothing wanting in the creation of the Lord. All the potencies are there in a dormant state. But unless they are combined by the will of the Lord, nothing can progress. The suspended progressive work of creation can only be revived by the direction of the Lord. Text 2 we can chant together. Kala sangyam tada devim bibrat shaktim urukrama treyo vimsati tattvanam ganam yugapad avisat. Kala sangyam tada devim Vibrat Shakti Murukrama Treyo Vimsati Tattvanam Ganam Yugapad Avisat. Kala Sangyam Tada Devim Vibrat Shakti Murukrama Treyo Vimsati Tattvanam Ganam Yugapad Avisat. Kala Sangyam Tada Devi Vibrat Shakti Murukrama Tattvanam Halasangyam tada devim Trayavimsati Tattvala. Mataji, please. Trayavimsati Tattvala. Synonyms: Kala Sangyam, known as Kali. Tada, at that time. Devim, the goddess. Bibrat, destructive. Shaktim, potency. Urukramaha, the supreme powerful. Traya Vimsati, 23. Tattvanam, of the elements. Ganam, all of them. Yugapat, simultaneously. Avisat, entered. Translation: The Supreme Powerful Lord then simultaneously entered into the 23 elements with the goddess Kali, his external energy, who alone amalgamates all the different elements. Purport: The ingredients of matter are counted as 23. The total material energy, false ego, sound, touch, form, taste, smell, earth, water, fire, air, sky, eye, ear, nose, tongue, skin, hand, leg, evacuating organ, genitals, speech, and mind. All are combined together by the influence of time and are again dissolved in the course of time. Time, therefore, is the energy of the Lord and acts in her own way by the direction of the Lord. This energy is called Kali and is represented by the dark, destructive goddess, generally worshipped by persons influenced by the mode of darkness or ignorance in material existence. In the Vedic hymn, this process is described as Mula Prakritir Avikritir Mahada Dya Prakriti Vikritaya Shapta Shodasakastu Vikaro Na Prakritir Na Vikriti Purusha. The energy which acts as material nature in a combination of 23 ingredients is not the final source of creation. The Lord enters into the elements and applies his energy called Kali. In all other Vedic scriptures, the same principle is accepted. In the Brahma Samhita 535 it is stated, Eko api aso rachayitum jagad andakotim yachaktir asti jagad andachaya yad antaha andantrastha pramanu chayantrastham govindam adipurusham tamaham bhajami. I worship the primeval Lord Govinda, who is the original personality of Godhead. By his partial plenary expansion, Mahavishnu, he enters into material nature and then into each and every universe as Garbhodakshayi Vishnu and then as Shirodakshayi Vishnu into all the elements, including every atom of matter. Such manifestations of cosmic creation are innumerable, both in the universe and in the individual atoms. Similarly, this is confirmed in Bhagavad Gita 10:42. Atva bahunetena kim gyatena tavarjuna vistyavyaham idam krishnam ekam sena sthito jagat. O Arjuna, there is no necessity of your knowing about my innumerable energies which act in various ways. I enter into the material creation by my partial plenary expansion, Paramatma or the Supersoul, in all the universes and in all the elements thereof, and thus the work of creation goes on. The wonderful activities of material nature are due to Lord Krishna, and thus he is the final cause or the ultimate cause of all causes. Om Jnana Timirandasya Jnananjana Shalakaya Chakshurun Militam Yena Tasmai Shri Guruve Namah. Shri Chaitanya Manobishtam Stapitam Yena Bhutale Swayam Rupa Kadamayam Dadati Swapadantikam. Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Shivas Adi Gora Bhakta Vrinda. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Panchakalpatarubhesya kripa sindhubhya eva cha patitanam pavnebhyo vaishnavebhyo namo namah. I seek blessings of all my superiors here. So, in the previous chapter, we heard all these beautiful prayers of the devas, the demigods, who are empowered by the Lord himself to carry out all this work of subsequent creation. And we heard how they were feeling that they cannot do this work on their own strength. So they offered all these beautiful prayers so they can receive the power, the energy, and the intelligence to do this service to the Lord of creating the material cosmos. So now in this chapter, Maitreya Rishi is telling Vidura how the the universal form is created, Vishwarupa. Krishna, he shows the Vishwarupa to Arjuna in the Bhagavad Gita in the 11th chapter. Is a whole description, and it's interesting how people who do not know much about various avatars of the Lord, they are fascinated by this Vishwarupa. We also see how in the Bhagavad Gita museum, like so many people come there, and most of them, they say they like the Vishwarup, the universal form diorama that they have there. It is very attractive, and actually, how many of you have seen the museum? I guess most of us have seen. Okay, if you haven't, then you should definitely see it. There you can see how, even seeing in the museum, looking at the Vishwarup, it's how mind blowing it looks like. And that's how Arjuna felt also when he saw Krishna in the Vishwarup. Actually, Arjuna got scared seeing. He actually said that this ghastly form, I'm scared to see this ghastly form. So he requested Krishna to come back to his two-handed form, the Shyamasundar form, which he can appreciate more than seeing the Vishwarup form. So in this chapter, Maitreya Rishi, he will be describing how the universal form comes into being, and we're gonna hear more in this chapter about that. But in these two verses, there are few points Srila Prabhupada is mentioning, and we are hearing about is how only by the direction of the Lord, by the will of the Lord, it is happening. It's not happening on its own or automatically or by combination of some elements or some chemicals. It's not happening by that. It's actually happening by the will of the Lord, and there are different energies involved for that to happen, and the energies involved are being described actually in these two verses also. But the main point we should understand that it happens by the direction of the Lord, by the intelligence supplied by the Lord, and by the strength given by the Lord to the personalities who are involved in making it happen. And one of the personalities we hear in the second verse is the goddess Kali. So we know, like, many people, they are also worshippers of goddess Kali, especially in India. You see there are many temples of course she is known by various names, Kali, Durga, and one of the name is also Bimala Devi. So we will be celebrating Rath Yatra in August, and if we go to Jagannath Puri, then in the temple there is also Bimala Devi, and it's mentioned actually that the the pandas in Jagannath Puri temple, they think the only Mahaprasad is Jagannath Mahaprasad. And how they explain is that when it's offered to Jagannath, after that it goes to Bimala Devi, and that's how it becomes like special Mahaprasad, because Bimala Devi, she is like a great devotee of the Lord, and when it comes from her, it becomes even more powerful. So that's another way how Bimala Devi, she is giving mercy to all the living entities. But here, this is one of the points to understand, that it doesn't happen automatically or just by how the scientists explain, just by combination of some chemicals or something, but it actually happens by the will of the Lord, by the direction of the Lord, and by the energy, by the strength, by the potency supplied by the Lord. I was thinking of this point, how even in the Siksha Ashtaka there is one prayer, Nam Nam Akari Bahuda Niji Sarva Shaktis. So all these Shaktis, they are invested also in the name of the Lord. That's why devotees, they chant the holy names of the Lord. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. And the more one advances in their practice of bhakti, the more they can experience presence of these energies that are invested in these holy names, and the more they can see their taste increases. So we can see how, like example of Haridas Thakur, he was chanting so many names of the Lord, and still, like one time he told Lord Chaitanya in his later years, when he was close to leaving his body, and Lord Chaitanya asks him, what's your disease? And Haridas, what's your sickness? What's your disease? I don't remember the exact word he used, but it's on similar lines. So Haridas Thakur says, the only disease I have is I don't chant enough. And we can see how many holy names he was chanting. Now we can see when we chant, sometimes it can be like some days it can be like a struggle, and some other days we may taste a little bit more of the holy names when we are chanting. Some days we may be more attentive, some days we may be a little bit distracted. So this is how it is in the beginning stages. It's actually explained in Nectar of Instruction. In one of the purports, Srila Prabhupada, he compares the holy names to actually a sugar candy, and the practitioner, especially in the beginning, he gives analogy of like example of someone suffering from jaundice. So when one is sick, especially when someone has got jaundice, then anything sweet one tastes, it tastes bitter. But as one's jaundice condition heals, the sweetness comes back. One starts to taste the sweetness in the sweets. So same way it's described, as one's taste for chanting the holy name increases, they start to taste more and more sweetness. They start to like it more and more, and they start to see all these energies that are invested in the holy names. The realizations come. It's not like just a mechanical activity, you just moving your tongue, saying few words, and it's a very dynamic activity. and it's all explained, all the symptoms, how one can, you see, and that's how one can know for themselves, like how much they are progressing in their practice, how much taste have we developed for chanting the names. So it's very important, but also how we can also study about these things. That's why these things are given in these books. So when we study and then when you are practicing, you can also see it. Actually, this is one of the ways you one gives evidence of the validity of these shastras. They compare it with different shastras. Just like here, this verse from Brahma Samhita is given, and it's mentioned how all these different energies, they become activated when the Lord enters. So this Mahat Tattva, which is the combination of all these elements, it's inactive without the touch of the Lord. But when the Lord enters, when the presence of the Lord is there, that's when it becomes activated and creation starts. Without the presence of the Lord, creation doesn't happen. Just like here it's mentioned, the different Purusha avatars. So the Lord enters even every atom as Shirodakshai Vishnu. In every living entity as Paramatma, he is present there. So there is a beautiful verse in the invocation to Sri Ishopanishad. So every element is complete. Every element of the creation is complete, and the Lord, even after manifesting so many parts, he is also still complete. It's a very beautiful prayer. It's an invocation in the Sri Ishopanishad. Om Purnam Ada Purnam Idam Purnam Purnam Udachate Purnasya Purnam Adaya Purnam Eva Vashishyate. So as a new bhakta, I used to hear this recording. Some devotee has chanted and recorded it in such a beautiful melody. Yes, Maharaj. Yes. So it translates like this: the personality of Godhead is perfect and complete, and because he is completely perfect, all emanations from him, such as this phenomenal world, are perfectly equipped as complete wholes. Whatever is produced of the complete whole is also complete in itself. Because he is the complete whole, even though so many complete units emanate from him, he remains the complete balance. So many times people, they have this understanding that, like, if you take out something, say we have a box here, you take one item, then that item is not there in that box. So that's how sometimes people also understand that, like the universal form, if so many parts are coming out, then the universal form is lacking in something. But from this verse of Ishopanishad, we can understand that the parts that come, they are also complete, and the whole still remains complete in itself. So no matter how many living entities come, the Lord is still complete. He is not lacking in anything. But he still likes it when these parts and parcels offer service, especially when they offer service out of love and devotion. That pleases him a lot. And that's what we see, how the demigods, although they have lot of powers, they have a big position, but they are still showing their example that they understand there are higher powers than them, and they accept that position. They understand their own position, and that's why they offer service. Even in the world we can see everyone is giving service to someone. Actually, Srila Prabhupada one time he said that there is no one who can say, I don't serve anyone. Everyone is serving someone. It's like a parent, they are serving their child, the teacher, they are serving the students by educating them, the employees, they are serving their employer by doing various duties for them. So in similar way, everyone is giving some service. Even in the animal kingdom, you see animals also take care of their little ones, they supply them food. So everyone is doing service. There is no one who can say, I don't serve anyone. So the real intelligence is one who thinks, where would my service be most meaningful? Where my service should go, actually. Because one may be serving a foolish master, like the example of ass is given actually. Is so amazing how in the Bhagavatam there are so many analogies comparing using the animals. So an ass, you see, what does ass subsist on? Eats grass. And there is grass everywhere, so many places. The ass can just go anywhere and eat some grass. But I haven't seen here, but in India I have seen there are like washermen, they use ass to carry the load, and especially the clothes. So all the laundry they do, all this wet, when you wash clothes, when they are wet, they become heavier. And they would load on the ass to carry it places. And all the ass gets after all this hard work is a little bit of grass, so it can subsist on it. But if a person who is seeing the ass doing all this, they can think like, this ass, there is so much grass everywhere. He can just go anywhere and eat grass anywhere. But because he's foolish, he's looking for this master who like exploits him to such a degree and then feeds him a little grass. Sometimes it may not be even enough for him. So an intelligent person, they want to see where their service is going. And that's what the demigods, they are showing here. Although they are very powerful, they have a lot of power, but they understand their position and they understand the position of the Lord, and that's how they are saying all these prayers to ask for strength to carry out their services and to remain engaged in that service, not be distracted and engage in service of some foolish master. Actually, there is a beautiful prayer in Chaitanya Charitamrita, which where is actually said by Sri Yamunacharya. So, and you can see how the devotees, they become very happy to see the Lord as their perfect master. So, Bhavantam evanu charan nirantra prashanta nishesha manorathantra kadaham ekantika nitya kinkara praharsa ishyami sanat jivitam. So Sri Yamunacharya, he is actually praying in this way. When will I become completely happy and satisfied by having such a perfect, such a fitting master? So we can take lessons from all these demigods, and we can study these beautiful pastimes here given in the Srimad Bhagavatam, and we can also beg for strength, for intelligence, so in our own lives we can perform our service, our sadhana, our practice very nicely. So I will stop here. There are a few minutes. There's lots of points in these verses. I'm not like super technical with all the details, but I'm sure many of you know lots more. So if someone wants to share some realization, some insight on these points, or some question, we have a couple of minutes. Okay, anyone has a question? Yes, Madhva Mahotsav, bro.
Haribo, Dhira-lalita Prabhu, thank you for a nice class. I was just thinking about like how Lord Vishnu or the Supreme Personality of God, it is the active ingredient that makes things work. Like in Ayurveda, they ask Lord Vishnu to bless the medicine so that it's effective. And I was also thinking about how living entities, they grow, and that's because there's a soul, and the soul is a particle of the Supreme Soul, the cause of all causes, Sri Krishna. So how things are taking place because of that most important ingredient, that most important complete unit, that all that energy is coming from. I was also thinking about the sun, how it's supplying so much energy to the growth of so many plants and living entities, and still it seems like it's in complete balance, and it's still completely providing that energy. So like the sun does, so Krishna, who creates the sun. I'm just making a comment. He said it's okay.
Oh, we thought you were saying you have a question. It's okay.
No, I didn't say that. I never said. I'm making just sharing a realization. That's all.
Okay, thank you.
Please
Thank
don't
you.
arrest me. Sorry about that.
Corey, thanks for a wonderful class. It really
Thank
made
you,
me
Mara.
start thinking about, the world, the universe, human beings, growth, and all of these wonderful things. So, what it made me think of, I'm looking at the light now, and how is the light coming? It's coming from Krishna. We should not think any other thing, any mechanical or material thing, which it may appear to be, but that's not it. It's Krishna's light, which is manifesting through the light. It's Krishna's power, which is keeping this marble together as one. It could break up into 1,000 pieces, but it's not. It's staying together. Why? Because Krishna wants it. And why does he want it? Because Prabhupada wanted it. And why did Prabhupada wanted it? Because he wanted us all to sit together and relish these wonderful topics that you have just spoke upon so nicely. And not only is that, look at those flowers. How are those flowers holding their color? Krishna's mercy. How is this wonderful plant, Tulsi, staying there and not falling off or not walking away? Krishna's mercy. Everything is working by Krishna's mercy, and if we keep that in mind, this is what Krishna consciousness is all about. Being conscious of the value, the strength, the guidance, the direction that Krishna is giving to everything. And that's what this wonderful verse you were reading about is. That's the summum bonum, or the ultimate understanding. Don't forget Krishna. Although it's so easy. You see a floor, you see a light, but what's behind it all? And when we start thinking what is behind it all, that Krishna is behind it all, that Krishna is all-knowing, all-loving, and all-enabling, that nothing happens without his mercy. So we are all living under the mercy of Krishna, although sometimes we don't even think about that, but it's the fact. If Krishna withdraws his mercy, the floor can fall apart, the lights can go out, the Tulsi plant will fall over, everything will fall apart, everything will become disintegrated, because Krishna is, as you said, the whole, the strength which keeps everything together. And why? Because he wants it to. And why does he want it to? Because living entities need to improve, they need to grow, they need to develop, and they need to become loving of God. And so he is helping us by keeping all these wonderful things together. Thank you. Hare Krishna.
Thank you, Maharaj. Okay, Grantaraj Srimad Bhagavatam ki jai, Srila Prabhupada ki jai.
Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Rama, Rama Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Hare Hare. Put there. Put here. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna,